we have a serial killer.
Well, then I'm going to need more resources.
There's a homicide peak here. We don't give the pigs nothing.
Good morning, everyone. And I say morning because for once, it's actually morning in France where I am. This is a discussion, a Q&A for the Paris Art and Movie Awards, so the Paris Movie Awards. And we are talking feature film this morning. And we have the winning feature film of the Paris Movie Awards 2026 with us. I have the writer, producer, and I have the lead actress. And Sam, welcome to the Parma. And Stephen, welcome to the Parma. We are very happy to have you. We started chatting a little bit before we started recording, and you won Best Feature Film at Parma this year in 2026, our 16th edition. Congratulations. Are you happy?
Oh, yeah. No, of course, yes. I'm still in shock, to be honest. It's so good. Like, Stephen and I, we were speaking, and it's just, we're so proud of it. And, yeah, I mean, I'm still in shock. I don't know about Stephen, but I am.
Yeah. Stephen, how do you feel?
Yes, no, I'm the same as Sam, still processing it. And we can't thank you guys enough for, watching our film, and bestowing that honour upon us. Like, we're just absolutely humbled and honoured. I don't even know. I don't have words for it, but we can't thank you enough. You know, because we're just, like, this was shot in a small regional town in Australia, New South Wales. You know, it was a small crew. You know, and we're just blown away that you could see what we saw, because we're obviously very proud of it.
I used to say almost every year that we're an independent film festival, and I'm not the one judging the movies. First of all, I organize the festival, but I don't judge the films, so that creates a layer of transparency. But the one thing I say to everyone, the judges, the selection committee, everyone, is if the movie is good, we want it. It all comes down to the movie, if it works. And the other thing I say is, short film, feature film, documentary, music video, whatever, do not look at the budget. Or maybe look at it in a way that if they made an amazing film for $500, maybe there's a lot of merit into it. If they made a feature film with a small independent budget and it looks really good and kind of streaming ready, that means something to the commitment that was into the movie. Sam, I'm going to go back to you, but first I have a question for Stephen. Stephen, I heard on the news, because I did some research, you are a retired detective?
Correct. Yes.
And I learned that after watching the movie, and it suddenly made so much more sense. Talk to me about it.
Yeah, so 18 years, Matt, in what we call the New South Wales Police Force. So that's the state police. So I kicked off in 1993. I was in plain clothes, and then I made my way up the ranks into detective, and I ended up at the homicide squad with the New South Wales Police Force. So, 18 years, 18 great years, but unfortunately due to PTSD, I was medically discharged. So there's a few years there where I sort of, was in the wilderness. But I've always been a writer, even before joining the police. When I was a young bloke, I was a writer, so that's where that came from.
Sweet. Sam, back to you.
Yes.
You're the lead in the movie, and you are in almost every shot, every scene of the movie.
Yeah.
Must have been quite a commitment. I mean, I don't know how many days you guys had, but I guess you were in 90% of them. Talk to me about the experience and the involvement.
Yeah, look, I was, and that's why it was so daunting, because I can remember thinking, well, if I'm not good, this isn't going to be good because I'm in the whole thing. But yeah, it was a massive commitment, but I think, and Stephen, correct me if I'm wrong, we had roughly 5 to 6 weeks, and we were working a lot, but it was my first feature, so I can remember going into it pretty naive and not fully knowing what was going to happen or how many days I had to work or how long, But it was tiring, but I can just remember being like, oh my God, this is the best experience of my life. It was so good. But yes, very, very consistent. But I think it was good because it fully allowed me to live in the character of Shelley. Like, I didn't have a chance to have a break from it. So I think that helped.
Yeah. Definitely. So let's pitch the movie a bit, because the movie has not screened at the Palma yet. It's going to screen on Sunday and again next week. So give people a snippet, an idea of what it's about. Stephen, elevator pitch. How would you tell people come watch the movie?
Well, the movie's about a female detective in a small country town. And she's battling PTSD and an addiction to prescribed drugs, and she's been given her first murder investigation. And when she delves into this investigation, she starts looking at it. The bodies that turn up are from her past, and not only just from her past, but from a past trauma, and it's all connected back into a childhood trauma, and then it just unravels from there. So you watch Shelley, the character, unravel at the same time as she gets deep into these investigations.
It's really, you described it pretty well. From the viewer's perspective, it's a thriller, it's an investigation, and you're hooked up. But at the same time, it's really, really connected to that character and how everything comes back. And finally, I don't want to spoil it, but kind of comes to an end. The story, in all the ways possible, comes to an end. Sam, how did you approach the character? It's a kind of a basic question, but from the script to the set, how did you approach giving that character some flesh and bones and some life and something, because it's deep, it's raw?
Yeah, no, 100%. So like I said before, it's my first feature, so I kind of went in a little bit blindly and just did what I thought works. I did things that I've done previously on short films and even auditions and stuff, but I really did thoroughly research PTSD. I also made a playlist of music for the character, stuff I thought she would listen to. I cut my hair. I can remember doing that, just thinking this is a choice that I want to make, and it just, I don't know if it did anything, but it made me feel a bit more like Shelley, I guess. And yeah, just also trying to sort of relate to her in a way that made sense to myself. So reading the script and thinking, okay, this is how Shelley's dealing with this thing she's going through. How can I relate to that? How am I similar to her? And yeah, pretty much just doing as much research as I could, but also not overdoing it and just sort of letting myself feel it. And yeah, like I said, I don't know what I was doing really, but I was trying really hard and hopefully it paid off. But it was a really very full-on experience, but really, really it was amazing.
I guess it does work because I believe you won Best Actress in Berlin, correct?
I did.
You did. So the girl, first Berlin, now Paris. The girl is definitely going international. It's good. Stephen, you mentioned that it was filmed. So it's filmed in Australia.
Yes.
But it's a very specific region. I don't know the details, but it's a specific region. It's a specific town. Can you tell us a little bit about, do you live here and how did you choose the settings? Because it's all natural settings, real independent movie. Can you talk about that a bit?
Have you ever heard of the term bush, being in the bush? So that's a big term we use in Australia, being in the bush. So Tamworth's in an area called the New England Tablelands. So it's tucked away just on the sort of foothills of the Great Divide. And the Great Divide runs along the east coast. It divides the inland from the coast. And it's a little ecosystem. So a lot of people, when they think of Australia, they think red dust, blue dogs, utes, singlets, all that sort of typical stuff, Croc Dundee. So what we've found is this little ecosystem in the Tablelands where you delve a little bit deeper and you go into this ecosystem and you learn about, like, for me, it was a country detective, and having to and she's battling the elements not only of the community that she lives in, but also the community, the police station, where there's a lot of sort of bias towards males as opposed to female. And she's the only female detective, and I saw that firsthand as a male because I joined the police in 1993. So I saw that firsthand. So I drew from that, and obviously the Chubbuck, Sergeant Chubbuck, Rick Herbert's character, he was like the pronounced version of quite a few individuals that I came across during my service. So.
All the characters in the movie have something very cinematic to them. They all represent, that surgeon that you talk about, he's one of the antagonists. He's not the main villain of the movie, but he's one of the very clearly one of the characters you love to hate in a movie for all the right reasons. How did you said you wrote movies and you worked in that realm even before doing police work. So how did or not?
Yeah, so I wrote my first little book when I was in about year 5. So I was about 10 or 11, and I remember writing my first little book. So I've always been writing, and I've written 2 unpublished novels. They've never gone anywhere. But when I got PTSD, I found that I couldn't do the long form anymore. And then I had a look into scripts, and I went, wow, 90 pages. I can do this with where my mental health was. And I knocked it out, and I went, I love this. I love this short form. Because I've always loved movies. I've always been a mad movie buff. So that's where that came from. And then I just drew, when I actually wrote Girl in the Shadows, and I'll say this, I don't care, but I was actually in a mental health ward for PTSD, and I was being treated, and I pulled out a pen and a piece of paper, and I started writing. And what I was looking at, I didn't want to admit what was going on with me, but I could look at Shelley, and I could take myself away from and look down at Shelley, and I'm going, this is what's happening to Shelley. It's not happening to me. It's happening to me, but it was therapeutic. So I was writing it, and even though I was a female character, it was a way of it was quite, over the years, as I sort of improved the script and got better, it was quite therapeutic.
Did you, Sam and Stephen, did you have conversations about the character? Because as I understand, it comes a lot from real feelings and experiences. How did you talk about it, and how so? What were the discussions about?
I feel like, and Stephen, I feel like before I feel like it was a lot before we would shoot certain scenes that I would ask Stephen some questions. I didn't want to ask too many questions because ultimately I didn't want to base Shelley on him necessarily. Like, I didn't want to take it on too much, but I did want to have a more of an understanding, of course. But yeah, like, I definitely picked Stephen's brain a little bit about what he'd been through, and just, so I could get a bit more understanding of the writing and everything like that. But yeah, very interesting, but also very sad too. It's very confronting, and it's such a big issue. And I mean, you hear PTSD, and it's obviously not something like a light topic, but when you talk to someone who has been in, the police force and homicide, it's really sad. It's a lot.
Yeah, I guess you see a lot of things that you sometimes wish you didn't.
Yeah.
Let's stay on character. How did you convey, Stephen? How did you convey your vision or your inspiration or your take on the character Shelley to Sam?
Backtracking a bit, when I was sitting with the director and we're going through some actors, we're going through, I don't even know what you call it, but we're looking at actors who that could be potential and then I saw Sam's profile, and I said to the director, Darren Hawkins, I said, that's her. Because in my head, I had a vision of what Shelley looked like, and I just went, wow, that's her. So that kicked it off. And I think, like Sam was talking about, Sam was very, very polite, very respectful, and she'd come up and she'd ask me these questions. And she didn't have to. I'll tell you, she didn't actually have to ask me the questions, because I'd go, Sam, I don't know where she was drawing it from. I don't know where it was coming from. And I remember, I'm getting emotional just talking about it now, but I remember at the rap party just saying, when we're doing the speeches and that, like, I just said, thank you, Sam, for portraying Shelley as you did. And I've also, sorry, I'm getting a bit emotional, but we've also had female police officers who watched this, have screened it, test screening it, and they loved the way Samm played Shelley. They thought it was so authentic, and they went, wow, she really held that character, and they related to it, and they'd come up to me afterwards, after the screening. We had a screening last year, just a test screening with a certain audience, and these police and serving police females was, they were just blown away by Samm's performance. So I didn't have to do a lot, Matt. I honestly didn't. Whatever Samm drew from and the way that she obviously interpreted the script, she brought it, and she brought it every day. And you could see how exhausted she was at the end of the day. And by the end of the 4 weeks, we shot this over 4 weeks. We had a little bit of but we shot this over 4 weeks. And by the end of the 4 weeks, she was exhausted. She'd given it everything. So, yeah.
I kind of picked up on that in the movie, Samm, and I wanted to talk to you about it because the way you portrayed the character, you could have gone a very different way. You could have gone more emotional. You could have gone more explicit, kind of, in the emotions and the way you could have shown more emotions on screen, but you took the route to kind of be more on the reserve, and that gives actually the character a more realistic aspect.
100%.
You receive actually more emotions because you can feel the struggle. Again, it's always difficult to talk about acting, but how did you balance that, and how much of that was conscious in your work, and how much of that just came because it was natural?
No, honestly, I'm glad you said that, because that was a choice I made. I feel like, and again, just drawing off, when I've been through really traumatic or difficult things, like everyone has, or when I think I can remember, I'm just trying to pinpoint exactly when I made the choice, but I watch a lot of true crime. I love it. And I watch a lot of documentaries, and I feel like I'm most affected when I watch a documentary because it's real. And there's something really heartbreaking when someone doesn't show all their cards, and you can see how much she's struggling internally, and she doesn't even have to show it. You can just feel it. So you don't have to do these dramatic things. And that was a choice I made early on. And I feel like you kind of just in the writing, that gave me that choice. And it made you sympathize with her a little bit more, because she is really trying to keep it together. But it's like she's just clawing onto dear life. And everything she touches has claw marks in it. And you can feel that. And I just think not being so over the top and dramatic with it was the right choice for that character. That's what I thought.
Yeah. Definitely works, and congrats on that. I'd like to shift gears a bit and talk about, you mentioned it a bit, Stephen, when we started, independent filmmaking. Small budget, big ambitions compared to the budget, real locations, an actual vision, a script that wants to tell a story that's rooted in reality. It's a lot of things, a lot of boxes you checked, and you made it to the end with the whole cast and crew and everyone. Can you expand a bit on how you made it happen? Because making a feature film, every story is the same, but every story is different. So how is your story? How did it happen? How did it started? And then we'll talk about how it's going.
That's a really good question, Matt. That's a really good question. And I think what it came from was an authentic place, or like a really genuine place. So one, it was shot, it wasn't Tamworth's not my hometown. I was born in an even smaller town called Narrabri, which is about 2 hours from here, west. But my family are all here in Tamworth. So number one, support. So I've got 5 sisters, Matt. And they came in. I even dragged my mum into it. So she was running around doing things too. But the thing was, when we were on set, the biggest thing that we wanted to make it fun. And I know it's not a fun topic, but let's play, like, we wanted to make it fun and safe for people to just be themselves, feel safe to speak up, to do whatever they needed to do, and to work. There was no sort of on the boss, you listen to me. It was more like there's a couple of old heads there that just led the way very softly, but we had a very young, inexperienced crew. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But we had some really good anchors who were just very soft and very gentle and weren't like, I'm the boss, I'm the dictator. They just led very gently and people followed. And I know this sounds crazy, Matt, but one of the biggest things that really helped, I got my best mate who was a head chef, who'd been cooking for many years. I said, Scotty, we need you, mate. He came on set and he cooked the best food. Like, I'm not exaggerating in my Sam. This food was a la carte, man. It was heaps of it. It was always hot because we shot this in the middle of winter.
Seriously, sorry to cut you off, Stephen.
Yeah.
I was mentioning to my partner last night, I was like, one of the highlights was Scotty and the food. It was so amazing. Like, it was so good. Sorry to cut you off.
No, but
It makes a lot for film atmosphere, for the set atmosphere. When everyone knows that the food is going to be good and then you treat them well, it's going to participate heavily into the relaxation time and the winding down time, from giving emotions on set to then just being with friends, cast and crew, and then going to rest. It's psychology, food. It's basic.
I think the French know a little bit about that, Matt. The French know a little bit about that.
Yeah, we do. Cool.
No, and you could see it, Matt. You could see things starting to dip, and then Scotty come on, and he's this mad personality. He's only a little fella, but he's this mad, bubbly attitude, and he'd come on and he'd be talking to everyone, and I wouldn't eat, and he'd come and grab me and go, Stephen, you got to eat. And everyone loved him, and he'd be cracking jokes, and he brought his dad along, so he had his dad there as his kitchen hand and second in charge, and Mike would be there helping him out. It was just beautiful, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, up we'd go again, and we'd get through the next 3 to 4 hours. And then he'd bring in some hot soup and some bread rolls, and we'd tuck it. Amazing. Like, I watched it from outside, and I went, wow, this is crazy. You know?
Back to the independent filmmaking thing. Talk to me about, you said 4 weeks of filming.
Yes.
How did you approach scheduling, locations, booking cast and crew? How did you manage time to reach the visual result and the really good quality result that you guys got?
Okay. Number one for us was locking in a DOP. So Casmi Dixon, who's ACS. So once we had locked him in and he had committed and he was ready to go, that was our anchor. So then we just built the team around that. So we had our director, Darren Hawkins, and we had Casmi, and we built our team around that. Then we were very, very lucky, Matt. We got an incredible gaffer, Mark Nadeau, who was going to actually be here tonight but couldn't make it. Incredible. And he came on, and the way that he would light the set changed our film. Like, I'll be honest, I'll be upfront. Like, he came on and he'd worked with Casimir before. So those two knew each other, knew how they worked, and they just worked so well together. So we're blessed in that area. So our film went from, could have been to this incredible piece. When you look at it on screen, you go, wow, that's magic. But it all came down to Mark Nadeau and the way that he used the lighting. So that was a absolute godsend.
I have to say the cinematography and the lights are really good in this film. There's a scene that was really talking to me for the light. At some point, your character, Sam, has a relationship, and she goes to a bar or to a party, and then she goes to the back room and there's a kiss. Yeah. And the shot is divided in two, and there's a Dutch angle that way. And the whole side of the screen is pink, and the other whole side is blue. And it's just so pretty. And the whole film is balanced that way. Question for you, Sam. What was the relationship you had with the camera and with the light? And did it influence the performance? Did it make it easier? How was it on set?
For me, I feel like, this was my first time obviously working with Kaz, and Mark, and they're both geniuses. Like, I can remember the first day we shot some stuff and they were just showing me like playbacks. And I can remember just thinking, oh my gosh, like I don't really even have to do much. These guys are great. So I feel like for me, I almost didn't even have to think about it. I didn't even have to think about the camera or the lighting because it was just so good. I trusted them. They did it. And it was like, we all just did our jobs so well, I feel, that no one had to sort of worry. And then when I watched it for the first time, I was like, wow, this is beautifully shot. This is stunning. Like, you know, so yeah, honestly, I don't think it was something I thought about that much. I kind of just luckily just had to think about myself and what I had to do because I knew that they were killing it. They were doing a great job. So yeah, that's basically, yeah.
It's a good thing when you don't have to worry about it and you know it's going to work. You can just focus on your part, which is what filmmaking is supposed to be.
I mean, yeah, it should be.
Yeah, definitely. Tell me, guys, about because the movie was filmed in 2023. Am I correct?
Yes. Yeah.
We are in 2026. So independent filmmaking, it's a long journey. Where are you at? I know you went to Berlin. I know now you are in the movies in Paris. What's been the reception of the film? And then where are you at right now?
Well, like I said, we had a test screening in Tamworth. So there's the Capitol Theatre here at Tamworth that sits about just short of 400 people. So we said, that's it. We'll get locals in. We'll get cast and crew. This is it. And it wasn't the final cut that you saw. Actually, it was a different score and it was a different sound, and it hadn't had all the grading done to it. So we set that up. They watched it, and at the end of it, they stood up and they gave us a standing, ovation, clapped us. But and I obviously can't give it away, but there was two pivotal moments, and I think you'll know which one it is. You could hear them go, oh, the audience, and then we took it. Yeah. We took it to Sydney, and we did another test screening with one of our sponsors, George's Cameras. And they just wanted to, obviously we wanted to do a Sydney test screening, and we got people to George's Cameras at Chatswood at their little studio, set it up. They put on some food and drinks, got another different crowd in, a Sydney crowd. They watched it the two times, same reaction. We went, oh, okay, that's good. That's good.
The ending of the movie, again, I won't spoil it, but you won't see that type of ending in a mainstream movie. It's courageous. The way the movie is written and filmed and how it ends, it's like, oh, they do that. Okay. And I was like, okay, respect, because it's really, really good. What about distribution? Is the movie, do you have anything set up for distribution?
Well, that's the difficult path that we've been on. We didn't go into this with a solid distributor. We had someone that given us a letter of bounty in Melbourne, had sort of indicated that and I've been talking to them since we have finished post. But in terms of distribution, no, we haven't got there yet. We're going to, it's going to screen in Queensland at a festival in Winton, which is in the outback. And we think it's the perfect place for it because it's out in the bush, as we say. It's called Vision Splendid Outback Film Festival. Okay. And it's touted as the only Outback film festival in the world. So we're going there. That's a big moment for us because it'll be shown with other movies that actually it's only Australian content, and they're movies that have already distribution. We don't. So we're going there and we're working closely with Greg, the coordinator, and we're hoping something might come off the back of that. Since our win with you guys and also Sam's incredible win with Berlin Indie Film Festival as Best Actress, I have since gone back to one of the distributors and that person's got, we'll have another look at that, thank you. So getting selected for Winton, obviously winning with you guys, Sam doing the incredible job and getting Best Actress with Berlin, that's reignited interest, which is good for us.
Excellent. And you had good press also. I've seen a couple of things on TV, local TV in Australia. It helps build the reputation for a movie and credibility. And you had a lot of local support too.
A lot
the
of
local
local
community,
support,
the shops are real shops, correct?
There's no sets, so there's no it's a real location. So what you see, look, bar the police station, but it's still the community hall that we dressed, because at the last moment I couldn't get us. I nearly got us into a police station, but we were able to get the externals and all that. But in the end, we had to go with something else. But it's all like, that's truck stop. We were shooting that, Matt. They had customers. They still were serving customers when we were shooting some of those scenes. Where we said, like, we had to work around them. We had, okay, stop. Let the customers come in.
Yeah.
It was interesting at times, but the people, the locals, they loved it. They loved being involved. They couldn't help us enough. That truck stop, that lady was out in Nundle, which is about 45 minutes in another direction from Tamworth. She goes, I've got accommodation here. Do you need accommodation? We said, please, that would be great. She said, no charge, you've got accommodation. So we put some of the crew up there, plus we could use her shop, no charge. Just a beautiful woman. She said, no, I want to see this go well. And that was pretty much the response that we got from all the locals in Tamworth, Nundle, Nemengar, Moonbi, all these little villages. So it was great, yeah.
And that also, Sam, that must be so, I'm a director myself. It's so much better when you on set, but it's a real location, real walls, real people.
Yeah.
Completely different.
It feels so much more authentic. And when you're in a small town, and especially, there's Tamworth, which is country, but it's still, sorry, my dog just walked in. It's still quite big, but then when we were shooting, was it Nundle, Stephen?
Nundle, yeah.
When we were shooting there, it was like, why would you want a set? Like, this is perfect. I don't want to change any little bit of this, It was so good. It just not felt authentic, it was authentic. And yeah, like I said, I haven't been on a whole lot of, what I have done is like actual sets, and it's quick and it's very, I don't know, it just was a little cold and dry, but this was not like that at all. Yeah.
It's just a different experience, and that's also why I asked about the relationship with the camera and the light, because when you're on set, everything is recreated, so it gives you, I feel it's more work for an actor to recreate everything around and show it on screen. When you're actually in the bush and you have a real sunset and real people and a real car, then you don't have to recreate it. You just have to be, in a way.
It's gold.
It's gold.
It makes it so easy.
Yeah, definitely. Guys, congratulations again on winning Best Feature Film for The Girl in the Shadows. I think it's really well deserved. The cinematography is great. Acting is amazing. Everything is on point. And most of all, like I said in the beginning, there's a story. You had a story to tell, and the story comes across, and there are some wow moments in the movie, like, oh, I did not expect that. And the twist at the end, like, what? And I've seen a lot of movies, and I watch a lot of movies, and this one was like, they got me. So congratulations. I love the movies doing good for you, and I really hope and I wish you that your festival efforts are going to help with distribution to get that movie pushed in front of an even bigger audience. Yeah. And
thank you very much.
The movie is going to show at the Palma Online on Sunday, and it's going to show again as the closing film of the festival next week. So people are going to have two opportunities to catch up with The Girl in the Shadows and travel a bit to the bush and get to discover all the good work that you guys did. Thank you very much for choosing Palma, and we are really interested to see your next movie, short film, feature film, whatever you guys do. Please send it over our way, okay?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Thanks. Bye.